is up? What's up? What's up? Jeff Lerner here. How goes it? Today is a good day. We are going to have a conversation today about how to be more awesome, get more done, and not get totally destroyed in the world the way things have gone lately. I'm sure it's not a surprise to you and yours that the world's changed really fast this year. And it's kind of feels like it's leaving a lot of people behind. Yes, I'm back at the Win. I confess, it's like pretty much my second favorite place on earth. Home with my family is my favorite place. This is probably my second favorite. My wife and son are in that room over there. So traveling with family is one of my favorite things in the world to do. It's been a little bit disappointing this year that COVID has made traveling less of a thing, but we've managed to still get some good travel in. Help me. I got 10,000 to start. That's awesome. It's more than I had to start. But who have you got to start? 10,000 is what you've got to start. Who have you got to start? That's worth a lot more or less than 10,000, as the case may be. No, in all seriousness, go through our program. Go through the blueprint. We'll help you. We will. That's what we do. And hey, you know what? Somebody actually just gave me a great suggestion. Thank you. Sorry, not to interrupt myself, but yes, we had multiple concerts we were supposed to go to this year that got rescheduled, postponed. Super frustrating. Hey, do me a favor, guys. If you enjoy these conversations, if you get value out of what I share every day, give me a like, give me a share, give me somehow let the world know, or at least the Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever you're seeing this, let the algorithm know, so that maybe we can get this information out to the world. There's a lot of popular stuff on the internet that doesn't really seem to do that much for people's lives. Sean, what's up, my man? Yeah, I very much enjoyed our podcast together. That was tremendous. There's a lot of stuff on the internet that doesn't do a lot for people's lives. I said, hey, let's use the internet to actually create stuff that does do for people's lives. Wouldn't that be novel? So far it's working. A lot of other people doing it too. It's a shame that those of us that do it have to fight so hard to be seen and be heard, when people that fall off their skateboards or light dumpsters on fire or piss off their roof or, whatever it is that they do, they get millions of views, right? Everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to distract themselves from their life. But yet if you're in a life that you want to distract yourself from, that's actually some pretty good feedback that your life isn't totally fulfilling, and that maybe the time that you spend distracting yourself from your life could be better spent improving your life. Just a crazy idea. But anyway, so I read something earlier today that really, really got me thinking. And I don't know if this is terrifying or empowering. I'm going to go with empowering. And Ross, thanks for saying that. I enjoy doing what I do. I'm going to say that this is empowering, but I can see how it could be terrifying for people depending on really a lot of what you believe about yourself. So Kevin O'Leary, the guy on Shark Tank, right? Mr. Wonderful is kind of an asshole. Everybody knows the guy. And I actually suspect he's not as big an asshole as he pretends to be, but it's a good character. It works for him. He said, he made a comment that said, with COVID, and I get very tired of talking about COVID I don't actually think COVID is interesting, but I think the impact that it's had on the world is interesting. And especially because it's changed the environment in which we have to position ourselves if we want to be really, really successful in this world. It's relevant to that, because that's really all I'm about, is saying, hey, how can we be successful in this world? But so COVID has changed a lot of stuff really fast. And what Kevin O'Leary said is, he said, COVID took about 5 years of progress and collapsed it into about 5 months. Now, I know most people are kind of focused on the downside of COVID and the detrimental aspects of COVID. And certainly it's horrible and it's tragic. And, I'm a human being. And of course, I hate that people are hurting or suffering. But I'm also really, really pragmatic, and I like to focus on things I can control. And I agree, Michael, it did. It's kind of forced the issue. But in terms of what I can control, the reality is I cannot control the fact that some people are getting sick and some people are having health challenges around it. But what I have the ability to have some influence and hopefully impact on, and even maybe I'm flattering myself, a little control over, is saying, can a large number of us survive and thrive as more than we would have in spite of or even because of COVID? Because there's nothing wrong with taking lemons and trying to make lemonade. And I think there's a lot of lemonade to be squeezed out of COVID. COVID, to Kevin O'Leary's point, it's accelerated the creative destruction in the world. The creative destruction is the economic process. It's a term coined by Joseph Schumpeter in the early 20th century. It's the term around how economics creates by destroying, right? Things break down, and that actually creates the demand for solutions that create value, that create growth. And so the process of creation and destruction are constantly intertwined and never ending in looping together. And that's the dance that grows the economy over time and essentially is human progress. So with all the destruction, it stands to reason there should be lots of opportunity for creation. And that's essentially how I think, make lemonade out of the COVID lemons. And so Kevin O'Leary's point was basically, we've taken about 5 years of progress, and progress in terms of, if you think of people working from home, people utilizing technology to stay connected, maybe people becoming more conscientious about how to boost their immune system or be more healthy. If nothing else, take some vitamin D, please. Or more efficient workforces, the deterioration of the inefficient retail establishment. It's more people shopping online, changing in consumer behaviors. This stuff was all happening, right? And with more people being able to work remotely, it's also changing population trends. It's changing migration trends. You have people for since the Industrial Revolution, people have been flocking to major cities. Now, for maybe the first time in centuries, we have people that are actually leaving cities. There's been an exodus. Cities like New York City, a lot of the successful, gainfully employed, upwardly mobile tax base of New York City has literally left the city because they're like, hedge funds and investment banks and all these places that employ me, they don't need me at the office anymore. They sold me to go work from home. And now that things are going so well working from home, they're telling me I may never need to come back to the office. So why the heck am I going to live in the middle of New York City? I'm going to go live in, South Carolina or Martha's Vineyard or the Hamptons or, upstate New York or whatever, right? And then the increased economic stress, the burden of the disruptions in the economy are forcing some companies to take more aggressive cost savings and efficiency measures. They're relocating to states that have lower taxes. Like this whole thing is going to be a boon for capitalism. Mark my words. The things that are going to recover us the fastest are going to be the things that are about the most efficient deployment of capital. I won't get into all the conspiracy economics behind it, but if anybody thinks that COVID is going to regress us towards more socialism and more dependency, mark my words, it's not. Because the only thing that's going to get us out of this mess is going to be free market capitalism and letting the creative destruction process happen as quickly as possible so that we can get back to doing the thing that actually makes the most people the most happy, healthy, and fulfilled in this world, which is creating a healthy economy that allows people to make money and have good jobs or create businesses or create value and get fairly compensated for value. Like, I promise we aren't slipping into a nanny police state like some people are hoping for. The only salvation for COVID is to let the markets do their thing and let people like me and all of you that are out there to create value and move the world forward, let us go do our thing. Don't try to take all our money in taxes and give it out to people that are not going to go do what we're going to do. Let us have it and let us go do it, and we'll fix this mess. All right? That's the truth of the world. And I think the governments know that. And I think regardless of who's got what agenda personally, they know that they cannot stop the engines of economic progress from firing up right now, or they will literally like kill the world. And they won't do that because they don't want to die too. And I'm being metaphorical and a little dramatic, but you know what I'm saying. But anyways, creative destruction, good thing, which means theoretically accelerated creative destruction should be potentially an accelerated good thing. Then why are people struggling so bad right now? Why are people suffering? Because normally creative destruction happens at the pace that it happens, right? The problem isn't that we've had a lot more creative destruction lately. The challenge is that we've had creative destruction happening 10 times faster lately. 5 years in 5 months, right? I guess that would be 12 times faster. COVID, this is Kevin O'Leary's comment. He said COVID essentially forced 5 years of change to happen in 5 months. So what should we do about that? How do we respond to that? How do we actually turn it into a win? I'm going to suggest if things had been left to their own devices and that where we were headed, we would have gotten in 5 years. And in 5 years, you were on a track that your life woulda, coulda, shoulda been better. You're like, hey, look, let it take its time. In 5 years, I'll probably be working from home. I'll probably have better adoption of technology. I'll probably have developed some new skills that are more relevant to the changes in the economy. I'll probably have some new ideas, some new value. I'll be 5 years smarter, 5 years older, 5 years wiser. All that was going to happen in 5 years. If you were on a good track for where 5 years was going to take you, you can be on a good track for where 5 months is going to take you. But you have to do to your own life what COVID did to the world, which is compress 5 years of growth into 5 months. COVID forced the world to evolve 5 years in 5 months' time. So if you want to be okay and you want to come out the other side and take it as a win, which is, hey, I made 5 years of progress in 5 months, then you got to do the work to make 5 years of progress in 5 months. That's literally the only thing that people should be focused on right now. That's the only thing that people should be obsessed about right now is how can I compress 5 years of physical, personal, and professional progress into the next 5 months. Because if I do that, maybe I'm 5 months behind, 6 months behind, 8 months, however long it's been since COVID kicked in, right? Like I'm a little behind, but you know what? As long as I bounce, as long as I hit back as hard as COVID hit, as long as I compress and put pressure in my own life as much as COVID put pressure on the world, and I can achieve 5 months of growth or 5 years of growth in 5 months, just like the world just did, then not only will I be fine because I'll be right where the world is, I'll actually be way ahead of all the other people that are still moving at the regular pace, and they're going to take 5 years, which means now they're 4.5 years behind. In other words, if the world moved 5 years in 5 months, that means everybody that didn't do the same is now 4.5 years behind, right? So if you'll move 5 years in the next 5 months, you'll catch up, and you'll be that much further ahead of all the other people that are still 4 years behind. See how that works? See how that works? Now, for me, I've been saying since 2009 is when I started, at least became an affiliate for digital marketing education products. I've been saying for over a decade, guys, this is where the world is headed. Go digital, get informed, plug into these platforms, become a producer, not a consumer when it comes to social and digital content. Like I've been saying it for a while. That's why I'm not stressed. I mean, personally, perhaps selfishly, that's why I don't have to be stressed and afraid right now, because I compressed, I saw where the world was headed. I said, I want to get ahead of that. Right. And so I've been, and frankly, I feel like I have been doing my part. I've been telling the world, go this way, go this way. I didn't know there was a pandemic coming, but if I had, I would have given the same advice, go this way, and you'll be a lot more recession proof, a lot more bulletproof. But okay, it's here. So what are we going to do now? Simple. Grow 5 years in 5 months. You say, oh, well, that's not possible. It is possible. It's 100% possible. And there's two principles that you can harness that make it infinitely possible. One of them is called Parkinson's Law. If you go read about Parkinson's Law, you will read a lot of anecdotes, a lot of business experiments, a lot of philosophical musings, a lot of different people talking about it. But it's a very widely agreed upon concept that says work expands to fill the space in which it's allowed. I don't know if I said that exactly right. Work will always expand to fill the time allotted. That's a better way to say it. If you allow yourself a month to pour a driveway, you will take a month to pour a driveway. If you allow yourself a week to pour a driveway, you'll get that thing done in a week. Think about when you're in college. In fact, go watch the TED Talk on procrastination. There's a great TED Talk on procrastination. It shows how people work. You give somebody 2 months to write a term paper. They spend a month just figuring out what they're going to write it about. They spend 3 weeks finding their sources. They spend 1 week writing or reading their sources, and they spend like 2 days cramming to get the damn paper done, right? That's how we all did it in college. That's how a lot of us still do it now in our life. We stretch out whatever time we're given to accomplish the work, right? So all you got to do is figure out, what was I going to accomplish in the next 5 years? And give yourself 5 months to do it. By the way, this is not a crazy new idea. Well, maybe it's crazy, but it's not new. Elon Musk has been saying this for years. People ask him how he gets so much done. He says, I sit down and I figure out what I want to accomplish in the next 10 years, and then I make a plan to do it in 6 months. 6 months later, I do it again. Work will always expand or contract to be accomplished within the time allotted. That is all you have to do right now is you say, where would I have been 5 years from now if the world had kept going the way it was going? Because all the things that COVID just pushed to change were changing anyways. So I already had to have some concept in my mind of how I was going to go, where the world was headed 5 years from now. So now that COVID compressed the time down to 5 months, I just have to do the same thing for all the things that I was going to do in that same period of time. That's it. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's doable. I promise it's doable. I'm watching people do it every day. I have recently, I would say, intensified a hack in my life that has helped me get more of this done faster. Because now that, here's the thing, you get addicted to it. Once you figure out that you can do 10 years of work in 6 months, you don't want to take 10 years for the next 10 years. You want to do it in 5 months, right? Like, it gets addicting. So then it becomes about optimizing and hacking your way to more and more gains. So the other thing that I've recently started doing is, and I just started it this week, and we're actually instituting it. By the way, Christian just posted and said, I think I've grown 38 years in the last 2 months because of this program. And I mean, that's my point. Like, when your brain changes and you lose the concept of like forget there's gravity. See how high you'll jump when you no longer acknowledge the concept of gravity. Like, it's that fundamental of a shift, only we're not talking laws of physics. We're talking laws of success. And they're a lot more fluid. There aren't like the same hard and fixed physical laws, right? Anyway, so the other principle that I've been leveraging to help me do this more and faster is another principle called the Hawthorne effect, right? The Hawthorne effect says that essentially when people are observed, they do better work. And they tend to focus more on whatever aspect of their work is being observed. So, for example, if you have a sales floor and you want the sales floor to produce higher sales, simply put a screen up on the wall that's got the total daily sales. And the fact that everybody's seeing the screen and everybody knows that and put everybody's sales numbers up on the wall. Everybody knows their sales are up on the wall and the daily total of sales is what's being focused on. Sales will go up. Just this simple creation of awareness mechanisms in a group environment, a group work environment, drives performance of whatever's being observed. That's called the Hawthorne effect. This was observed at the Hawthorne plant of the Western Electric Company back in the 1920s, and it's been generally recognized and used across businesses ever since. Whereas if you want to lower refund rates in a sales company, put the refund rates up on the wall, right? When people know they're being observed, they work harder, and whatever's being observed is what they work harder on. But we're talking about entrepreneurship, right? And most entrepreneurship starts as solopreneurship. At least a lot of people in my world, they want to, even if you have a job, a lot of people are like, I don't want to just make more money at my job. I want to start a side hustle, right? Marie gets it. She just said it. This includes ourselves. Start Hawthorning yourself. Put your own performance on display. I've been talking about this for a long time. I call it the commitment and consistency principle. But lately, this week, I've taken it up a notch. And I have been journaling in real time, everything that I'm doing all day, every day. It sounds like a lot, but I literally just got off of training. And let's see, I know Jeff was on that training. I think Marie popped onto it later. I think I saw her. So some of you guys were on that training. You can attest. I showed you my journal. I'm not going to show it here on the live, but I showed you my journal from yesterday, but I've been doing this all week. And here's what I can tell you. The act of recording what I'm doing in real time makes me so hyper aware of what I'm doing in real time that I want to write more down. I literally want to do more so that I can write more down. And I want to do better so I can write better down. And I want to focus more on the things that matter so I can write down more things that matter. This real-time journaling of what you're doing is creating a Hawthorne effect in your own life that will up-level you. And I think better enable you to leverage Parkinson's law to get more work done in less time that you allow yourself. See, we're using Hawthorne effect to springboard into Parkinson's law, to compress time, to not only keep up with COVID, but to accelerate. I would say accelerate beyond COVID. Why give yourself 5 months? Give yourself 4. You do 5 years of progress in 4 months, you're actually a month ahead of COVID. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's what I'm doing. And here's what I've noticed too. Everything I do a little. There were things I used to do in 30 minutes that now I do in 27 minutes. There are things I used to do in 15 minutes that now I do in 14 minutes. It probably used to take me 4 minutes to brush my teeth. Now I get it done in 3. And I know I'm doing it just as well because I'm so OCD. I literally have an exact routine of how I brush my teeth, but I'm literally doing it a little bit faster. It's crazy. When you're writing everything down, you do all the things you do. You want to do them a little faster, a little better, so you can get a little more done, a little better stuff done, so you can write a little more down and a little better stuff down. Do that. Start now. The best time to start was the past. The second best time is today. Start now and get hyper obsessed. Figure out where you were going to be in 5 years if COVID hadn't happened. That's where you need to be in 5 months now that it did. Thanks so much. Love and appreciate you all. See you tomorrow.